Okay, so we've looked at several of the components of the Kerberos system. Let's back off now and take a look at the process of authentication through a Kerberos server. The process starts at the subject level. So let's think of the subject as being a client PC. The subject requests access to some object. Let's assume that the object in this case is a file located on a file server. Now this file server is separate from the Kerberos authentication system. So the first thing the subject has to do is he requests access through the KDC. The KDC then runs the authentication server function to authenticate the subject. If the subject has been authenticated and he decides that, yeah, this subject can access the requested object, he generates a ticket, he being the KDC, generates a ticket for that subject and object, and then returns it back to the subject. The subject, first thing he does is he validates that the ticket actually came from the KDC. If it did not, then he has a bad ticket. So he validates the origin of the ticket, and then he sends the ticket onto the object. So he sends the ticket onto the file server. The file server then authenticates that the ticket came from a valid source. He opens it, looks at the subject, makes sure that the subject he received the ticket from is the subject that's referenced inside the ticket, and then he says, well, obviously this object is accessible by the subject, so I'm going to grant access to that particular object. So bottom line is, he allows the subject to access the file located within this file server.